Okay, so one thing I noticed while digging around getting Eddie going is, unfortunately, well, there's two ways you can look at it. I guess fortunately the good thing is the fuel tank is not leaking. Unfortunately, it's got quite a lot of fuel in it, and I've just popped the sender cap off because the drain bung underneath it's rounded. I can't even budge that, so I'm gonna have to drop this tank, and just popping that cap, you can just smell the fuel in here has turned to varnish. It's got that really strong varnishy smell, and unfortunately I think there's quite a bit of fuel still in here, so this is gonna be fun. Not. Anyway, I need to get this out, dispose of this stale fuel, and get this tank flushed so that we can run this thing off the tank now that the engine's going. So yeah, this is not going to be fun, but I've got to get it done, so let's do it. Well, it's not great. Cinder's just snapped clean off, so good start. Not looking forward to this. Right, fuel tank's out. Wasn't too painful. Only casualty was the fuel sender. Bit of rust around there, but it's actually not too bad. Like, it's very thin in some places, but for the sake of just getting him going, like, you could wire wheel and flick some black paint in there, which I'll do if I get time, and it's not too bad in that. And luckily there's not too much fuel in this. Like, there's a bit. It sounds a bit crunchy, but we'll have to dispose of that properly and get this tank to be flushed and cleaned, so that there's no dramas blocking fuel filters. I'll take a heap of fuel filters and stuff with me, but we'll get it cleaned out anyway. Do the right thing. Alright, we'll keep going. Need to have a look at these brakes next. Right, old water pump and old bulb fitting for the head. The heater is off, so I won't be running that. Got the new blank off fitting in there, and got the old water pump off. Cylinder head, I don't know if you guys can see, but it's actually pretty clean in there, which is nice, unlike the front of the engine, which is covered in oil. And I could clean that up, but short of time, all that, blah blah blah. Don't have degreaser, blah, so it's staying rust preventative. Alright, new water pump on. Haven't painted it, haven't cleaned up, haven't done anything. I obviously cleaned the gasket surface, got some aviation sealant on the gasket both sides, torqued it up, and that's it. Like I said, I normally would clean all this stuff up and do a bit better job, but I literally got 2.5 days to sort of get this car done. And while I'm on that subject, I guess I lost half a day today going to go pick my old man up. So he's recently diagnosed with prostate cancer, so today he had his 2 days ago he had his surgery getting his prostate removed. So public service announcement, all us blokes don't really like talking about that sort of thing, but make sure you're getting your regular checks and stay on to that sort of thing. You'd rather have a few awkward conversations and be uncomfortable for a bit than dead. So all you blokes out there, go to your doctor, get your regular checks. Anyway, enough of that. Let's keep moving. Water pump's on, get the belt back on, figure out what to do next. Finally got 2 things done today. Slowly moving forward. Alright, so this is what I was talking about before with the boosters. So this is the booster that was off Eddie. So it's a PBR VH44 booster. You can see the snot that's coming out of it, so I'm not going to take my chances with it. Again, I don't have time to be mucking around with it, but I will keep that. I'll take all the lines and fittings off and put them on this one. This one here I will send away to be reconditioned, because yeah, the quality of these PBR ones is really good, and that will end up on an EK sedan that I'm building with a grey motor and Trimatic, which I'll show you guys another time. Let's get out of it. French Bulldog. Anyway, so I'll take all the fittings and stuff off that, bag it up, put it on the shelf until I need it, send that one away. This is just the Chinese bloody knockoff, but you can see this one, the mounting points are here, this one the mounting points are here. The vacuum line is here, the vacuum line's here. So you can actually swap these things around 180. Well, I'm hoping you can swap the cheap ones around anyway. I know the good ones you can swap. Soon to find out about these cheaper ones, but this thing lasts me 12 months on Eddie, I'll be fine. This was like $100, where like to recondition one of these is multiple hundreds of dollars. It is a better product, and it is what I will use on my EK once it's reconditioned down the track, but for now this will get me out of trouble and I'll be able to turn this around quicker than having to wait to get that reconditioned by a specialist. So anyway, let's flip this around and get onto it, get it on the car. Right, old master off. Probably could have checked to see if that worked. I haven't put any fluid in this. Not sure if it was the master cylinder or the wheel cylinders that were leaking as to why that's empty, but this is one off the FB that's been converted to an LS. So I know that this was good. It's been sort of sitting in storage for the last, I don't know, 18 months or so, so hopefully it's still good, but part numbers are the same, they're both PBR. So that one will go into the spares box and we'll re-sleeve it and stuff down the truck. But for now we'll chuck this on, chuck all the lines over, and hopefully it hasn't sprung any leaks in the last 18 months or so. So we'll chuck that on, chuck the lines over, flip this booster, get it all in, and then tackle the wheel cylinders and shoes and drums and all the rest of the stuff. Right, next job for the day, and probably the last because I'm running out of light. Old rusty battery tray, repro battery tray out of the LSFB. It wasn't that old when I put it in there, but the battery in that is now in the boot. It's not too bad in here. Just brushed all the crusty shit off. There's a few little holes of rust, but again, for what old Eddie's gonna be, it'll be like a rat with a gold tooth with a few little bits and pieces that I'm throwing on as I go. Not essential to have the car running for what I'm doing, but today's just been a write-off and I just want to feel like I've got something done. So you know, with new water pump, new master cylinder on, I've moved the brake lines over. I'll swap this booster tonight in the shed where I've got light, and I'll bolt this battery tray in, call it a day. So I still have cooling system, that's it, Adam at Red Devil in Lawton, he's recording that for me. Still got to figure out the fuel system and how I'm going to mount the moon tank, brake suspension, and I have 2 days pretty much to do it, so I'm going to have my ass hanging out here, but yeah, not admitting defeat yet. I want to get this thing done, so we'll keep going with it. Anyway, I'll speak to you all tomorrow, or sorry, footy tomorrow, Sunday. Alright, have a good one. Battery tray out of the FB in, all tightened up, so that's good. Last bolt of the day before I go to pack up and crack the terminal. Good times, just what you need when you're rushing things. Oh well, add positive battery terminal to the list of things to do. Couldn't end the day on a negative. Found a spare terminal. It's actually another one off the FB. That's on there. Job's fixed, one less thing to do. Cross that off the list. Right, so that is now swapped around, so it's the same configuration as the PBR one. So I've reversed the aftermarket one, I'll throw that on. This PBR one I will bag up and put it on the shelf and get it re-sleeved and recode and use that on our EK sedan. So put that one away and we will get that one fitted up. Now that's ready to go. Like I said, I've put the new second-hand master on it. I need to drill some holes. I'm going to put the steering brace on this as well, just to take some slop out of it. So when you're doing a tank slapper down a dirt drag strip, you are trying to help the situation by not having a heap of steering box flex. So yeah, anyway, we'll get the holes drilled for that, fit this booster up, and then start going through the rest of the brakes. So the steering box brace is in. Let's get the booster and all the lines in now. Put the wheel cylinders on and try and bleed these brakes. Alright, booster's in, buttoned up. All the lines are tightened up. So that's sitting in there, standing out a bit with the rest of the old crappy bits, but it's in there. So now move on, we'll do, I've got some rubber hoses to replace all the rubber hoses, a pair of shoes and cylinders for the front, and a pair of shoes and cylinders for the rear. So jack this thing up, rip the wheels off, and do the rest of the brakes, and then we can try and bleed it all up and see if we can get some sort of pedal on this thing. Let's do it. Alright, there's one side done. Let's throw the hub back on. If I was doing this properly and sort of more organised, I'd do those wheel bearings too, but to be honest, they don't feel too bad. So I'll just give them a bit of a clean out as much as I can. Readjust it and put it all back in. But yeah, that's this side. So new shoes, new wheel cylinder, the new rubber brake hose here that I'll chuck on. Do the other side. I've got the young fella pestering me to go have a kick of the footy, so I'll get these fronts done, go have a kick, probably tackle the rears tomorrow. Alright, so first stuff up of the day. I assume this thing had a HR diff in it, and I should have checked. And the easiest way to check is the bolt spacing of the axle flange. I don't know if you can see, but on the FB EK, they're kind of square, I guess you could say. So I assume this thing had a HR diff in it because it's got the HR front end, but it's still got the EK diff. I've ordered the HR wheel cylinders, which are totally different. The shoes are totally different, so that's not going to work, which is painful because it's sort of turned a half-hour job now into I have to swap the diff. So again, the diff in my old wagon, not that long into it, I did wheel cylinders, brake hoses and all the rest of it. So if I'm any chance to get this thing going, I don't know anything about this diff. It's probably just going to be easier to swap the diff, so that's what I'm now going to have to do. I'm going to have to rip all this rear sway bar off. I'm not going to run that. I don't have time to muck around swapping any of that over, so I'll literally rip this out and put the diff out of my old wagon in here because I know it's good. The wheel cylinders are all new, the shoes are new. Yeah, it's frustrating. It's spending more time that I don't have doing this, but it's my only option at the moment because I'm not going to have time to swap this out. So anyway, it is what it is. I need to get moving and get this diff swapped out. Alright, fought me all the way, but diff is out. So that's the diff that was in Eddie. It's just like a FB EK. So it's raining, so you can probably hear the kids driving. The missus mental inside. Yeah, so I've got the spare diff from the wagon. It was fine. I did the brakes on it not that long ago. So it's a known quantity. I could have just swapped everything from that diff onto this diff. But again, given that I don't know anything about this, I'm super short on time. I've pretty much got it. Well, I've got today really to have this car, everything bar the cooling system pretty much done. Like I don't have any more time off between now and the event. So anyway, I need to stop talking, I need to stop filming, and I need to just get on with it and get this in. So I'm gonna throw this diff in. Actually, also, if I had time, I was gonna chuck some lowering blocks just in the back of it to give it a bit of a negative rake, I guess you could say, which yeah will be a bit controversial to the old guys, because I know it's not really what was done back in the day, but anyway, that's what I want to do with this thing. Eventually this car will probably, if I end up holding on to it, it's going to probably end up in vintage gas, so it'll be a good mock-up for that. So anyway, I need to get on with this, stop talking, get this diff in, chuck the lowering blocks in while I'm at it, and bleed these brakes. Let's do it. Alright, probably cut this episode here. I don't know if I'm actually, well, I'm probably not going to have time to edit and get this episode out, so I'll have to have a think about how I'm going to do this. Like I said, the filming and editing of this is like the lowest priority I've got, and as it is, I think I'm probably going to miss the event by a day or two. The list is still pretty large, and I've just got little things that keep tripping me up that I sort of haven't planned for, that are taking extra time, and it's time they don't have. But anyway, where I'm up to, can't remember what I'm filming, it's all been a bit of a blur, but reverse the booster, got that on, got the second-hand master cylinder on, second-hand clutch on. I've bled all that up, I need to top the clutch back up. I've got the new brakes on both sides on the front, so new shoes, new wheel cylinders. The wheel bearings on it looked like they'd been done not that recently, so I just cleaned it out and repacked the front bearing. I don't have seals or whatever to do the rears. If I had time I'd probably do it, but to be honest they look like they'd been done not that long ago, so I just sort of done a half-assed job of that just to be safe. All the front end's been re-greased, new hoses on the front as well, so that's the same both sides. Steering braces on, boosters on, which I talked about, and on the rear I ended up just swapping the diff out entirely, so I ended up having to swap the diff out, swap the tail shaft out. I put 2-inch lowering blocks in the back of this. The 2-inch lowering block U-bolts that I had, I'd trimmed too short, so I'd use the 3-inch ones and then trim them short, so I need to order another set of U-bolts for the other 3-inch set. That's sitting pretty good there now. Like I said, the brakes, I assume this had a HR diff in it, but it doesn't, it's still got the original EK one. So my FB wagon, not that long ago before I took it off the road, I redid the brakes in it, so it's got new shoes, drums have been machined, new wheel cylinders, so that's all fine, and it's got a new rubber brake line as well, probably less than 2,000 miles old, so I've just swapped that whole diff in here, which again, that's something that when you think you're going to do HR shoes and drums, HR shoes and wheel cylinders, it's a pretty easy job, but the FBEK stuff's a bit more painful, and it's more painful to adjust to, so I'm sort of spewing about that, but it is what it is. This diff I know is okay, the brakes I know are good, so that's the rear end, so it's sitting a little bit better. I think it's 3 centimeters lower in the back than it is on the front. So anyway, I'm going to throw the front drums on. I've just had them machined by Rob Armstrong Automotive. So I'm going to throw them on. There's the old diff. So what I've got left to do, cooling system, I'm going to have to order some radiator hoses and sort of bastardize it to get the grey water pump connected to the red outlet of the radiator, but anyway, that's not a big job, so I'll chuck the radiator in there when I get it back from being record, sort some hoses out, fill it with coolant, bleed it, all the rest of it, so that will be the cooling system done. The radiator I'm going to have to bring up. As I said, this fan hits the top hose because of how it's all sitting, but that's not a big job. The thing that's going to bring me unstuck is this fuel tank. The fuel tank in this thing's crusty as. It had a couple of litres of varnish sitting in the bottom of it, and the varnish goes acidic and starts eating the tank from the inside out. It's not all bad. The tank can be saved, and it's a good tank, it's worth saving, so I will do that when I have time, but in the meantime it's just trying to figure out how to get some fuel into this thing. Like, I do have that moon tank, but I don't want to like the opening once the bottom's shut, it's not massive, and the fuel tank actually doesn't fit in there, so that it would have to be mounted off the front here somewhere, and which means I'm gonna have to fabricate some sort of frame to it for it to fit on. And again, like I've literally got one more day off between now and the event where I can sort of get that happening. That includes running around, picking the radiator up, getting the cooling system working. Still got to get these passenger doors working. The driver's ones work, the passenger ones don't, so as a safety thing you need to have all your doors opening and closing in case something happens and people need to get into the car. So yeah, cooling system, fuel system, doors working, all the running around that's involved with that.